Nigel Wam Wharmby. I'm a flight lieutenant at the moment, flying with 9AEF. My retired rank is Air Commodore, and my job here is to fly the Air Cadets and University Air Squadron students. So as of Monday, I can't fly solo ever again. My first solo trip was in March 1979, so it's a long time ago, 46 years of flying solo, and that's going to come to an end on Monday. Ever since I can remember, my father was in the Fleet Air Arm, so I'd always thought one day I'm going to be a pilot. And I remember being at Hucknall Air Show near Nottingham when I was about 7 years old and seeing the then experimental Harrier being flown by John Farley. And I turned around to my dad and said, one day I'm going to be a Harrier pilot. And my brother, who was 4 years younger than me, said, yeah, me too. And 20 years later, both of us are Harrier pilots. And in its latter stages, the Harrier II, the GR7, GR9, were probably two of the most capable aircraft that the Royal Air Force had ever had, certainly of that generation. So to be part of the Harrier Force and be flying that aeroplane was a real privilege. 9th of July 1999, the front end came off the engine in the Harrier I was flying, and I ended up ejecting just north of Grantham. Unfortunately, things didn't go the way we planned. The canopy didn't fire, and when I ejected, I went through the canopy just like Goose off Top Gun, but fortunately I survived, but with a very badly broken back. I was in a wheelchair, I was told I wouldn't walk again, but a year to the day, I did my first trip back in the Harrier with my brother, and I then spent the next 18 months leading the squadron in Kosovo. So it didn't stop me flying, but it was a bit of a shock to the system. Flying with the young Air Cadets is a real tribute, it's a real experience to just see the smile on their face. And as I always say to them when I brief them in their collective brief in the morning, today is about you and it's your trip and you are going to remember this trip for the rest of your life. My job is to make sure you remember it for all the right reasons. And when you see the grin on their face when they get out of the aeroplane, it's to die for. Life without flying, I think I'll be a very old person, and I'd probably be too old to realise that I'm not flying anymore. I think until that stage, I'm going to keep flying.